Can you see my screen with this
Yeah.
funny evolution slide?
Yeah, sure.
So it's Serverless Toronto user group. We started as regular backend developers, but got excited about helping companies achieve agility through serverless. So nowadays we are more defining serverless like new agile and mindset, and we are trying to connect businesses and IT because we feel that over the decades of IT there is a bigger void, a gap, disconnect between IT need, what IT is offering, and what business needs are. We are like a car mechanic way too often, enjoying picking up cars, keeping them in the garage while business wants to be driven around. So we are trying to help companies achieve agility through serverless managed services. And there are a couple of ways we are doing that. It's through meetups like this. We have a channel on YouTube with the previous recording of the meetups, and then we keep recommending the books to product managers to become better. But fortunately, change in IT happens from top down. And what happened? I lost the slide deck. Happens from the top down. So we also giving. Can you please mute yourself, Jimmy? So, Walt, it is you. So we are offering second opinion about architectures and cloud migrations. Like it's just free of charge to help the world be better. Number of us in the group, including John, like organize our consultants. So we offer consulting services regardless of the time, just to help you adopt cloud computing and serverless trends. And then in the past, when COVID just started, we were helping people find jobs, but now that's no longer needed. Also, we want to improve the meetup, so there will be form I'm pasting here. This will not only help us, but it will help you win the prize. Lee is generous donating one of the copies of the book. So thank you, Lee, for that. And I hope this is not the last time you're with us here. So we have a number of exciting meetups planned already. I'm last couple of years spending more time in healthcare space and switched from pharmacy business to the healthcare business, and learned how much there was to learn, even for a senior like me. And in the path, I discovered Dr. Kevin Malloy, who will teach you in 1 hour beauties of the healthcare IT, what took me weeks to learn before him. After that, it was really thanks to Luck, who last time introduced me to the rest of the Google team. We're going to talk about making operational AI and Google Cloud Vertex AI. All the links will be shared with you. And then it took me a long time to connect with Philip Hoffa. He used to be Google's BigQuery guru. His last year or two helping Snowflake do the same. And I was excited when he accepted to talk about his journey and uncover the beauties of Snowflake as well. Because if you look in the cloud data warehousing, there are, to me, only two good products out there that Snowflake and BigQuery. So everybody tells you they have the best pizza, but one of the two you'll be happy, and Philip knows both. So that's it. And then you're always welcome to volunteer to talk to us. It doesn't have to be anything big, major. You don't have to write a book like Lee or like before, just to share something with the world to make this a better place for everybody. So that was my little spiel. Now, Lee, I'm honored that you said yes to talk to us. It was very timely because topic is dear to my heart. My first job in Canada was in the IVRs and text-to-speech, and now finally Alexas and Google's can understand me. And merging that with telephony, it's kind of the dream come true. So thank you for writing the book when I needed it and getting us deeper. So take it away, please.
Thank you so much, and I'm very happy to be here, and thank you for inviting me. Let me share my screen. Oh, hold on 1 second. Right, yes. So hi everyone, my name is Lee Boonstra. I'm a developer relations engineer or a developer advocate for Google, and I'm focusing on conversational AI. And that means within Google that I focus on Dialogflow, mainly Dialogflow, but also Contact Center AI and speech technology. And I even wrote a book about that. So the book is called The Definitive Guide to Conversational AI with Dialogflow and Google Cloud. And that's like a mouthful of words, the title, but it actually also, the book itself is also like huge. It contains lots of content. And yeah, today I'm just going to give you a little bit of a preview about that, about conversational AI within Google, and an overview of all the products that we have and how they work all together. And I would like to end with some of my own pet projects. So I'm going to show you some code, and I'm going to show you some code repositories that you can just play around with. And yeah, we will have some time for Q&A at the end. If you have any questions during my talk, feel free to interrupt. I always enjoy it when things are interactive. I have been working in the past as a technical trainer, and one of the main things that I enjoy from being a technical trainer is having the interaction with the classroom, and that's also my style on how I usually give presentations. So I'm very excited to be here. Let's start. We're going to have a talk about chatbots. And for the people that are totally new to chatbots, yeah, what's so special about chatbots? Because don't they exist already since the early days, since the computers were created? That's true. Chatbots, they do exist since the 90s. But the reason why they're popular now is because if you look back at the very first chatbot, which was created in 94, those types of chatbots, they were built by developers. And that means as a developer that you would write code. And as a developer myself, you write if-else statements, and there is always a way how you can break your own code. And that is the same with chatbots. People would ask something that the programmer didn't build the code for, and then the chatbot wouldn't know what to answer. If we fast forward to now, that's not the case anymore. The reason why chatbots are so popular nowadays is because it's all been done through AI and machine learning, where we train models based on data, and the chatbot will become smarter over time. And if we look into chatbots, or let me look into the Google Assistant, that's a device that many of you know, the AI from Google. And that's all about machine learning because, first of all, you speak to it. And somehow what it does, because the device itself is just a device connected to the internet with a microphone and a speaker. The microphone, it records your voice and immediately transcribes it to text. And that text, so speech-to-text model, once it has the text, it uses that text to understand what's written in the text, so natural language understanding. And then the next thing is it will query somewhere online to get the answers. And then once it has the answer, we match up to an answer, intent matching, and then we return it to the user. And we do that to text-to-speech or WaveNet models. So in this example, I'm already showing you 4 or 5 machine learning models. So that gives you also a bit of the complexity of chatbots in general. And just a small note, every time when I refer to chatbots, I don't necessarily mean text chat. I also mean chatbots like voice bots, like the Google Assistant, or like robots in a contact center, like robot voices that pick up phones. Now, there are like many categories where you can use chatbots or conversational AI for. Conversational AI is more the broader term. And the Google Assistant, that's one of them. We call it the assistants. It can help you with getting tasks done in the world. But we also use conversational AI in search, like in our own Google search engine, where you can record your voice and search. Lately, Google Assistant also can read websites based on certain metadata and text, and then it can read out or explain about the website. You can use conversational AI in your own IoT on your own hardware or things that you build. And customer care. And customer care, that's obviously the big one. And that's the category that I usually focus the most on. And these are robot calls in contact centers, but it can also be text chat on a website, everything to do with helping customers. And that is what happens in the enterprise. Now, I mean, and Daniel asked me, like, maybe you can give me an overview of the conversational AI products that we have in Google, because like don't we have like a lot of these products? And that's true. We have lots of products, and sometimes it's hard to understand what is what. So if you look into this slide that I'm showing you, I divided it in 3 levels, where the top level, these are the developer APIs. So these are the APIs that are, or SDKs that are used by developers that they integrate in their own apps. So think of speech to text, text to speech. Google Cloud actually has many more developer APIs, like natural language understanding or vision API. These are all APIs, but you run with your own code, whether that's Java or Node.js, JavaScript or Python, you can talk to it. Now, on the next layer, the green layer on the slide, you see these are the conversational AI software suites that we have. And these software suites, they run in the cloud. So software as a service. And what we have is obviously Dialogflow. That's probably what you know most. Dialogflow Essentials, yes, the orange one. But we also lately have Dialogflow CX and a new product called Insights. And I'm going to show both of these products today to you, so you have a bit of an idea. But just so you know, Dialogflow, that is the suite to build chatbots with. You can build text chat, you can build voice chats, you can build contact center chats. It's all been done through Dialogflow. And if we think back about the story that I told you in the beginning, chatbots and machine learning, that's exactly what Dialogflow does. You build a model in Hadoop, you train that model with data. The data can be example of training phrases, and we match that to an answer because the machine learning model underneath actually classifies whatever the end user says, and it maps that to an answer, and that's the answer that will be returned, whether that's text or voice, it doesn't matter. Yeah, so with Dialogflow, we have that in two flavors. I'm going to explain a little bit later about that, what the difference is between both of them. And then we have Insights. I'm going to show you also an example today about the product Insights, because that is a new tool that Google has, and with that tool, we can detect the topics of a call. Like call topics. So imagine that you have a contact center, and let's say it's a voice contact center. We record conversations in the contact center. Then Insights could tell you exactly like what are the topics that the users were calling for. And that is super interesting because as a chatbot builder myself, or when I create training phrases in Dialogflow, I always wonder, like, am I creating the right intent? Am I using the right data for my chatbot? And that is something that Insights can tell you. It looks into all the data that it receives, and it detects the topics. Now, if we look one layer lower, so the orange layer, this is our partner go-to-marketing offering. So Contact Center AI and Agent Assist, these are tools that are meant for running in a contact center. And I would say it's mainly made for voice, so robot calls, where robots can give you a phone call, or they can listen to an incoming phone call and talk back to you. And CCAI, like I said, and Agent Assist, these are go-to-marketing offerings. That means that actually this is a solution by Google, and the solution is built by Dialogflow. Dialogflow plus some additional APIs around it. And we give this to telephony partners, telephony companies, like a Cisco or a Genesys or an Avaya or Twilio. We tell them, like, look here, these are our tools, Dialogflow and some of extra tools specifically for a contact center. We know that you are the experts on contact centers because Google is not. You are the experts on contact centers. You probably already have your own architecture and your hardware and software stack. Use our Dialogflow and our tools around it to build a smarter contact center. And that is what Contact Center AI basically is. I'm going to show you later also some examples and videos on how that works. And feel free to interrupt me if I go too fast or if I say something that you've never heard of. Dialogflow and the conversational suite. If we look into Dialogflow Essentials, so the tool that exists already since 2016, is a very well-known product within the community. We have over 1.7 million users, so that's a lot. And they're all using Dialogflow for building chatbots, for whether it's web or voice bots. It's a very preferred tool by the community, and the reason why the community loves it, I would say, is because of the natural language understanding of the tool. And the natural language understanding is similar to the natural language understanding of the Google Assistant. And we can train these machine learning models so well because we at Google, we own a lot of data. We have YouTube where billions of videos are being uploaded every day. So obviously our machine learning models are an expert in understanding voice, and that matters for building chatbots. Now, what we have seen, like by doing all these years chatbots, in the beginning, when people were building chatbots, And that was in 2016. That was also when the Google Assistant was released. People were all building Google Assistant apps, actions, those are that's called, or simple chatbots. And what I mean with simple chatbots is that those chatbots, they typically take 1 or 2 turn takings. So, for example, I could ask the assistant, like, what's on TV tonight? And it will give me an answer. It will tell me at 8 p.m. there's news on TV. And that's a simple question answer. And that worked fine for many, many years. Lots of enterprises started to use Google Dialogflow. But over the years, not only the Google tools got more advanced, also like the products that all these enterprises were building, they became more advanced. They wanted to do much more complex stuff. And that's fine. You can do that with Dialogflow. Actually, there was a research done by Juniper where they said, like, well, we expect that in 2022, businesses, they can cut 8 billion of costs per year. That's massive. And if you think about that amount, 8 billion, then I can tell you already up front, that's probably not made by building a Google Assistant app. Now, the way how these businesses can cut business costs, that is by building complex things, whether it's like replacing their whole customer care or HR department with bots, or it is robots in contact centers, in telephony contact centers. Those are the big money makers for a business. And like I said earlier, then you suddenly talk about complex chatbots, and that's what we see at Google. And complex use cases to replace customer care or HR departments, and yeah, that saves a company lots of money, obviously, when you automate things, but it's also a lot of work. And yeah, once you build that, you can, for example, once you have AI in a contact center, you can reduce the call time, you can reduce the on-hold time, and you are 24/7 available. And that is definitely, yeah, the magic word for lots of companies. They all want that. And if they're not doing this yet, then it's probably already the case that they're looking into this. And Uniper says 2022. That's probably true, although there are also lots of companies starting to look into it now. And whether they're ready by 2022, that's the question, but it's definitely a hot topic, and that is what we see at Google. Now, when you would use Dialogflow Essentials, so the Dialogflow tool with the orange logo, what we figured is that you often, when you build complex stuff, that you reach the borders of the tool, because Dialogflow Essentials wasn't really meant for building these advanced use cases. And if I mention like advanced use cases, then I think of very complex chatbot flows. If you think of a chatbot flow as or a conversation as a tree diagram, and that means that you can branch off a conversation, and that every branch can branch off and branch up. If you would use Dialogflow Essentials, so the old tool, typically you would use maybe 1 or 2 or 3 turns, so 3 levels deep. But when you run AI in a contact center, you can go endless deep. Imagine that you have a robot voice on the phone. People are not asking you one question. No, they come with whole books of stories. If I look at my wife, for example, if I have a conversation with her, if she tells me something, she always tells like many, and this person say X and that person say Y. I don't even know the person, and blah 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 blah. Sometimes it's even difficult for a human to understand, okay, but what was the question? You can imagine that's also very difficult for a robot to understand, like, well, what is the user actually asking me? Imagine in a phone line, on a telephony line, somebody's talking for 10 minutes, but the only wants to have one answer. So that is a very complex thing. It means that conversations are huge. They can branch off. That means that parts of the conversation are repeatable. Think about the tree again. There are branches that are similar. In Dialogflow Essentials, you couldn't repeat or reuse branches. You had to either create those branches duplicate in your tool, or you had to use some coding around it to reuse it. And if you had more advanced conversations in Dialogflow Essentials, you probably had to put some patches with code around it. And that's what we've seen the community doing. They would all built their own frameworks around Dialogflow. And that was the moment when Google said, like, look, there is a need for another Dialogflow tool. We're not going to throw the Dialogflow Essentials away because it's used by 1 to 7 million users, but we're creating another tool that is mainly focused on the enterprise with advanced complex use cases. And for those people, they can build their advanced conversations with the tool. And conversations are always growing, and you can work with multiple teams on the tool. There's way on how we do versioning. There's way how we can do deployments of chatbots. That's all been done with Dialogflow CX. And I can give you a very quick demo of how it looks like, because like one of the main things of Dialogflow Essentials is that it has a visual builder. So let me switch my other screen. So hold on. And feel free to ask me questions. I'm not monitoring the text chat, so if somebody writes a question, feel free to speak it out loud, put your microphone on. That's fine. This is the tool Dialogflow CX. And as you can see here, in Dialogflow CX, you create flows, visual flows, and you can turn the orientation of the flow. The idea of flows is that you can work, like you can categorize your conversation in multiple parts, and you can work with multiple people on these flows. And as you can see here, like what I mentioned earlier, like if you would visualize it as a tree diagram, some conversations can go very deep, and that's what my example conversation does. I created a very simple chatbot that would go like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 levels deep in questions, in asking questions. And what I did for this chatbot was like, this was a chatbot where it gives you advice on which tool should you use. Should I use Dialogflow Essentials, or should I use the Google Assistant, or should I use Dialogflow CX? That's basically what this chatbot does. But you see, it's all visual, and you create multiple flows. And just to give you a very short introduction on how you would build this, because there's like one big main difference with Dialogflow Essentials here, and that is in Essentials, what you would do is you would create intents. You can open Essentials and show it to you quickly. This is how Dialogflow Essentials look like, so the old tool. And in Dialogflow Essentials, you would basically create an intent, and you would give it training phrases, maybe 10 training phrases. You would enter that here. Let me open one, and I want to show you an example. You would give it training phrases, and then you would already hard code the answer in the intent, or the answer comes from a payload or from an external system, but it will be all part of an intent. And that's not the case in Dialogflow CX. In Dialogflow CX, intents are just training phrases. And you can use those training phrases and reuse those training phrases for other parts. So if we look into Dialogflow CX, you can create your own intents, like what I did here. And it's only training phrases what you do. There's no responses.
I have a question.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. I was wondering in regards to Dialogflow CX, are there any, is there more possibilities to transport data? Let's say I have a contact center where I route certain calls to the voice bot to handle certain things, but before I do that, I print a unique identifier to this call because let's say it might be some kind of sensitive information regarding the customer. So the customer has already identified him or her in the system before we route the call to you guys.
Yeah, you can do that.
So yeah. But what we have been struggling a bit with is to when let's say for example a fallback or the voice bot handles whatever the customer is asking for, and then sends the customer on to where they need to, or to the contact center agent they need to talk to. But we also need to hand or send that data, for example, a unique identifier.
Yeah.
Like a thumbprint for that call. Yeah.
You can do that with both tools. But then the way in Dialogflow CX it is more advanced. You can send parameters to your because you wouldn't work with webhooks here in this case. You would probably like tell you with a webhook you would give a signal that you want to switch to a live agent, and you're posting parameters. You can do that with both tools. Essentials can post parameters. CX can post parameters too. I think the main difference here is that in CX, I think you can, if webhooks fail, you can catch that already in the conversation and smoothly gives that back to your end user. Where in Dialogflow Essentials, you probably have to do that manually. But yeah, giving parameters in your conversation, that's not so difficult. I'm not sure if I don't do that here, but yeah, you can add it here. Did that answer your question, Jimmy?
Yes, I think most of the way. I guess to further specify it, it's very specific. Maybe we can take that on another session, or I can talk to you afterwards or something.
Yeah, feel free to reach out to me on Twitter, and I can look into examples for you, because this is something we've been doing. Well, many customers are doing this. And I think there's even a feature in Dialogflow CX that can do the handover. Not sure if that is part of the CCAI API or if it's part of CX, but I can look that up for you.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, it's possible.
I was thinking, because there is lots of material for you to go through. If you don't mind, you finish the demo. There is so much thing to prepare, and then during Q&A we start the questions, because there is more people on YouTube. You will not be able to watch it, but it's easier for them to see presentation and Q&A after.
Sure.
So write down your questions and then
Sounds
good.
Sounds good. So let me quickly show you how you can create stuff in Dialogflow CX before we move on. Because yeah, indeed, I have lots of content for today. So let's say here we have a default flow, and I showed you the conversational tool picker flow. That was this one. This one I already finished. But let's say I want to finish the talk to Google flow, and I didn't do much here yet. It's just the start page. So we have flows and we have pages in Dialogflow, and a page in Dialogflow CX, we consider it as a state machine. And what is a state machine? Well, as a software engineer, think of a vending machine, like a candy machine. And a candy machine can have many states, right? You can put money, you can turn the machine on or off. You can put money in the machine can give you candy. You can pick candy. Those are all states. In Dialogflow, pages are the states of a chatbot session. That's how you should see it. So page controls the state of a session. So we would start with the start state, and now we can create more states to it. Like we need to navigate through the conversational tree. And typically how you would do this is you would first create a new page. So the end page where you're going to. So let's just create a test page here. Test page is created. It's not part of the flow yet because, yeah, we don't know how we reach the test page yet. Now we need to come up with something, and you can do this through routes or events. I'm going to do this very simple. I'm going to create a new event. I call it test 1, 2, 3, and I give it some training traits there. Testing, test 1, 2, 3, right. And then I save it. So now I've created the intent. And remember, an intent only contains training phrases, no answers. I created the intent. I need to link this intent to the routes. This is what I'm doing now. Test 1, 2, 3. Yes. And now I need to transition to the state. And the state was called test. I click save. And now you should see the state has been created. And now I could test it. Basically, this is the simulator. I could choose which flow I want to test. So I don't need to go through the whole chatbot if I want to. I can specifically test the flow. I could say testing. Wait, I need to give it more training phrases. Oh, yes, it worked. It did detect the intent. I never gave an answer to the test page. So if I would do that, I go into the test page, I edit the fulfillment, say, hello, test 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and save that. And now I should see that. Yeah, there you go. It takes some time to get familiar with the tool. Dialogflow Essentials is easier when you're a first-time user. But once you're familiar with CX, it's very easy to very quickly create pages. And the fact that you can reuse intents and that you can see a visual overview, that makes it very, very nice and easy. And this is just like a glimpse of what the tool can do, but you can understand like the way how we control conversations and states. Yeah, you can hold complex conversations. All right. We're gonna look into the questions later. I'm gonna continue with the presentation so far because I know that you're also all interested in hearing more about contact centers. So we will do that. If you give me one second. Let me see where I left my presentation. Looks like I lost it. Give me 1 second. Need to reopen the. Looks like, yeah. And there we go. Right, you should see my screen now, right? Yeah. Okay. So I showed you Dialogflow Essentials and I showed you Dialogflow CX. Now we're going to focus a little bit more about contact centers, like voices in robots that can give you calls or robots that you can give a call. And what we have seen is that customers, they expect great, flexible and personal experiences. And when we did when we look into surveys from Cisco and Zendesk and others, we see that 60% of the people want easier access to self-service solutions. And they expect to get real-time assistance 24/7. And they prefer personal interactions, but it does not necessarily need to be done with a human. If it can be replaced with a robot, that's fine. And if we look into that and we figure out like, okay, this is what users want. If we look into reality, when we call businesses or we call customer care service, when we call customer care, we often have like a reality, an experience that's not so nice. Think of long waiting times and hold times, or unlimited call transfers, IVRs that are difficult to navigate, availability that's and maybe your shop closes at 5 p.m. Agents that don't know the answer or tell you to look at the website. That's like a really bad experience. And I found a very funny video online that explains this experience, which I'm going to show to you. It's actually not a Google video. It's a video created by Zendesk, but it's so funny that I do want to show you this. So let me switch to the video. And hopefully this works. I tested it earlier with videos, so let's see. No audio. What's that? Give me 1 second. Yeah.
Thanks for coming. Talk to a parent. This is Dad speaking. Hi, Dad. I was just calling to say. Sorry. Just can I get you to confirm your 16-digit account number? Yeah, it's 00000. I think it's silly. 000002. Okay, please hold.
Your call is very choice. Not
June 8th, 1987. Okay, and your mother's maiden name?
It's Lee.
Yeah, it's Zoe. Hey, sweetheart, how you doing?
I'm okay. I'm just overwhelmed. I'm doing my taxes. I can't.
Oh, taxes. Sorry, honey. That's a question for Mom. Let me go ahead and transfer you.
It wasn't a question.
Hello.
Hi, Mom.
Hi, honey. Can I just confirm your 16-digit account number, your date of birth, and my maiden name?
But I just gave that information to Dad.
Mom? Please hold you.
Mom? Mom?
Yeah, I mean, and that really explains it all, right? This is often how experiences with businesses or telephony lines are, and that nobody really gets happy out of that. Like obviously that's not fun for an end user, for a customer, because you're waiting and you don't get the answer and the call takes longer. But it's also not great for the contact center agent. Like imagine that they often get like users on the other end of the line that are angry, or they always have to rephrase and repeat the same type of questions all the time. And for businesses, that's not a great experience either, because it costs them a lot of money. Like their conversations, their calls are unnecessarily long, and they have to put everybody on hold because these conversations take so long. Cost them money. So everybody would be happier if you automate things. Let me share my screen again. And yes, I will share the video later with you if you want to watch it again. Yeah. So this is when why Google started to create the solution called Contact Center AI. We thought like we can automate these experiences in contact centers better, and we can do this by using AI and our own Google Cloud products. And like I mentioned earlier, Contact Center AI is a go-to-market solution. Like we already use the existing components of Google, like Dialogflow and speech-to-text technology, and we hand this over to telephony partners so that they can optimize the experience by using machine learning. And now, lots of times people ask me like, okay, well, you guys at Google, you obviously know how to do this because you've built the Google Assistant. Isn't a robot in a contact center the same as a Google Assistant? And then I always tell them, no, it's absolutely not the same, because a robot in a contact center is way more complicated than how the Google Assistant works, because the Google Assistant works with short utterances. It matches one intent. I can ask like, what is the weather today? And it tells me like it's 47 Fahrenheit. When you have a conversation in a contact center, like I mentioned earlier, people can tell whole stories. And for a human, it's difficult already to figure out like, well, what is the end user asking me? And that is also difficult for a robot. What was the intent? What is the answer that we need to return? Do we need to continue listening? So long utterances, multiple intent matches. And maybe you need to give multiple answers. And on top of that, also when we look into the technology underneath, when you have a conversation over phone, that's typically mono. You have only one speaker, one microphone. So that means it's phone quality, which is 8 kilohertz. It also means that you have background noises. And do you need to listen to those background noises or not? Do you need to filter it out? When are the users quiet? When are they speaking? Can we interrupt each other? And then they also need to deal with special IVR features, like sometimes people want to use the phone keys to enter a number, right? So you want to listen to those. So contact centers is definitely a complicated space. And like I mentioned earlier, like the whole idea around this is with Dialogflow, and Dialogflow already makes use of speech technology, speech to text, text to speech. But around it, we also created some more tools for contact centers, and one of those things is obviously the APIs on how the telephony partners can integrate this in their own hardware layers. But we also came up with a solution called Agent Assist, where, for example, when you transfer the phone call to an employee, that so first let's imagine you're calling the robot answers questions, and at some point the robot doesn't know what to answer, so it will hand over the call with the end user to an employee. Then it will give you the history of what was been said to the employee, but the robot can still listen in, and while it's listening to the end user, to the customer, it can show the employee solutions on screen. So you can speed up the conversation much better. And it makes a lot of sense for what I see in the Netherlands, for example. Like when you look into insurances, they often have the problem that at the end of the year, people are allowed to switch their insurance provider. So it's always like super crowded and busy in the contact center at the end of the year. And because there are like waiting lines or hold times of an hour, what they do is they hire interns to pick up the phone. But you can imagine that these interns are not specialists of the company. They are just new within the company. So they all the time need to put the phone down and look up information. And you can imagine if you get the results just seen on the screen while the robot is listening, yeah, that speeds up your calls. So Agent Assist in combination with the virtual agent, Dialogflow, yeah, that makes a real contact center experience. And here you see an example architecture that we drafted and that we typically will give to these telephony providers. Like if you want to build a telephony experience, automated telephony experience, then you use your architecture, and in your architecture you use our speech to text to take what was said to the phone line, and we will use the transcribed text, and we put that in our Dialogflow virtual agent, and Dialogflow agent can do the intent matching and return the answer for you, and we speak that out with text to speech. And then on top of that, you have the Agent Assist and the Insights, because with Insights, yeah, we can detect the call drivers. I'm going to show you two more videos. I'm going to show you first a video of Contact Center AI. So the solution on how this would work. And this is an example of a Genesys IVR system with Google. And then after, I will show you how the Insights tool looks like. And you will understand that it makes a lot of sense in a contact center. Yeah. So we're switching back to another video. The reason why I'm starting videos here is because I tested it earlier today, and I figured that I want to show you the best quality. So we're doing it this way. So yep, there we go. Can you see my screen? Yes. Let me see. Again, I have an issue with audio.
Hello, Mala. I'm an automated agent. Welcome back to eBay. It looks like we just delivered you white Pamarca size 6 running shoes on June 25th. Are you calling about this order?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, how can I help you with that order?
Unfortunately, they don't fit, so I need to return them.
I can help you with that. I am starting a return for you. You will be receiving an email with the details of your return.
Cool, thanks.
Mala conversed with a virtual agent that understood Mala's intent to return her shoes and automatically fulfilled it. But now Mala needs another, better fitting pair of shoes. The virtual agent will detect this and will offer to connect Mala to a live agent.
One more thing. Would you like me to connect you to an eBay fashion expert to help find you the right shoes?
Yeah, that'd be great.
Mala now wants to purchase a pair of shoes. Google Contact Center AI recognizes this intent and works with Genesys predictive routing to find the best agent to help. Genesys predicts that Josh, among all qualified agents, is the best matching fashion expert to help Mala at this moment. Mala's call is routed to Josh, including all previous context about Mala's order and her conversation with a virtual agent.
Hey
Hello there, Mala. My name is Josh. I'd be happy to help you find the right.
The transcript of Mala's conversation with a virtual agent is visible to Josh, and her conversation with Josh is also transcribed and interpreted in real time. As Josh and Mala are speaking, Agent Assist interprets the audio and builds context on the meaning and the intent of the conversation. This allows Agent Assist to find relevant answers and articles to help Josh in real time.
I definitely recommend tennis shoes since they're designed to have the right support, grip, and to avoid an injury. What type of court will you be playing on?
It will be primarily hard court.
And is Pumarca your brand of preference, or would you like to explore other brands?
I like Pumarca shoes.
Agent Assist detected in real time that another knowledge base page contains the right content for Mala's request and made it available to Josh.
All right. I just searched eBay for you for hard court tennis shoes, women's size 6. And I found a great listing. Would you like me to text it to you, or would you rather receive it via email?
Could you text it?
Certainly. Thanks for choosing eBay.
That's a great actor, right? But I mean, you've seen, but how you can automate calls. Like we can listen to the user, we can match intents, we can talk back to the user to
And
test
welcome
the speech.
everyone for this CCAI session.
And you've seen the contact center, the agent assist, and in this case they use the agent assist to pre-fill forms on the web. Yeah, in this case on eBay, so that the employee, the contact center person can quickly fill in these forms because it's all being automated through the speech to text under the hood. Let me show you some more great stuff. So. Now, the next thing that I'm going to show you, that will be insights. So what you've seen is Agent Assist and Contact Center AI. Now you can imagine that if you combine this with insights to detect the call drivers, that you suddenly have a better understanding on how you should architect and build your chatbots. It's going to be another video. And it's a video that's been recorded by me, so you will hear my voice, but it's pre-recorded. And actually, this will be used for next, so you guys get a preview. With Contact Center AI Insights, business stakeholders and Q&A compliance teams can analyze and monitor customer service interactions and patterns in their contact center data. It gives businesses insights into the topics that are being discussed by their end users and how those conversations have been handled by the agents. We do this through transcripts, caller sentiment detection, silence detection, entity identification, and topic modeling. Now, for this demo, I'm using a contact center data of a fictitious financial company called G Mortgages. We will use their chat data and audio recordings to analyze and monitor their transcripts and call drivers. Let's get started by using CCAI Insights. First, enable the Insights API. You will find a link on the Conversational Hub page when you start Insights for the first time. This will take a few seconds before you can get started. For importing, you will also need to enable the speech-to-text and Google Cloud Storage APIs. The first thing you will have to do is to import the conversations to your CCAI Insights. In a production environment, you will likely have Insights integrated with your virtual agent and contact center system that pushes the conversations via the API in real time to Insights. However, it's also possible to import existing datasets manually. Let's start with importing a text conversation between an end user and a virtual agent into Insights. You can import it through Google Cloud Storage by pointing to the GCS URL and providing the name of the virtual agent who handled the chat. Your conversation will need a specific JSON format, which defines the text, the timestamp, the user ID, and the role. Once the conversation is imported, you can dive into the conversation and press the Analyze button. This will analyze your conversation transcript and annotate the bits of the conversation, such as the locations, the persons, or the objects. Clicking on these entities will highlight the parts of the conversation where those entities were mentioned. Now you can imagine that it is extremely useful for businesses or contact center managers to get the insights on the topics that are actually being discussed. For example, in the case of a chatbot, are these the topics that the chatbot was trained on, or should you come up with new strategies? We can do the same for audio recordings. You will need to have a 2-channel audio file of a uniform sample rate and an encoding supported by Google Cloud Speech-to-Text. Speech-to-text can generate a transcript from an audio file. What's important is that your transcript matches the speech-to-text response format, which contains the bits of the sentence with the specific timestamps. Each conversational turn is tagged with a channel tag to refer to the speaker that is speaking. Once you dive into your conversation, you can analyze the audio, and it's also possible to play the audio recording. Besides the entities, chat and audio conversations can also analyze the silence and the sentiment of the caller and the agent. This is very useful for contact center managers who want to learn from customer escalations. Lastly, you can also import conversations as a batch to import existing large data sets. You can import these through scripts using the API or via Cloud Data Fusion. In the Conversation Hub, you can use the filter to include or exclude conversations based on agent ID, transcript, duration, turn count, and more. These filters can be combined to find specific conversations, and it's possible to label these so you can find it back, or if you want to review these over a longer period of time. An Insights topic model uses Google Natural Language Processing to generate primary topics for each conversation in your dataset. You can deploy the model to analyze future conversations as they're imported. To train your own model with a good accuracy, you will need a minimum of 10,000 conversations. And then you can start the training. Please understand that training a topic model can take up to 12 hours, as it's a very extensive process, as it analyzes every conversation with each other to find the most common entities. Once your model has been successfully trained from customer data, you can deploy the model and view the most used topic drivers. Smart highlights automatically detect highlights through keywords and/or phrases in your conversation without requiring additional configuration. Smart highlights draws from various possible scenarios to detect highlights, such as asking to hold, ensuring that an issue was resolved, a complaint, and much more. It is also possible to create your own highlighters by providing keywords. In this example, you can see a custom highlighter tagging conversational turns discussing money amounts. When using Insights combined with Dialogflow, it's possible to create intelligent highlighters using Dialogflow Intents. As you have seen in this demo, Insights enables businesses to hear what customers are saying to make data-driven business decisions and increase operational efficiency. Right, so that's a preview of Insights. It's a new product, and we will start releasing this soon. I think it's already in beta, so if you are want to test it out, I think you can be added to the allow list. Let me share my window again. Right. So we have seen Contact Center AI and Agent Assist that helps customers and agents. And if you look into the tool Insights, that really helps the businesses, giving you insights on the topics that are actually being discussed, and how you could improve your call flow, whether that is with humans or with chatbots. It's very important to figure out these call drivers. So just in a quick summary before we move on to showing some of my pet projects. Conversational AI at Google, developer AI, those are the developer APIs such as speech-to-text, text-to-speech, and natural language understanding. Developers can make use of the APIs and integrate that in their own applications. But we also have conversational AI suites. This is where Dialogflow comes in, and we have Dialogflow Essentials and Dialogflow CX, where CX is more used for the advanced conversational AIs, like the multi-turn taking turns. And then we have Insights AI, the Insights tool for detecting the call drivers over call. And then if you look into Contact Center AI and Agent Assist, this is our go-to-market offering where Google delivers the components and specific contact center features to telephony partners like a Genesys, Cisco, or an Avaya or Twilio, so that they can use these components in their existing hardware and software stacks. So end users of a Genesys or an Avaya, they can just use this by just asking their telephony partner to enable this for them in their contact center. And these are amazing tools that you can start using if you want. But since I'm a developer myself, and I know many of you are developers, we developers always think that we can do things better. And there's a great quote that I wrote down, like, if you want something done right, then just do it yourself. And that's actually one of my pet projects that I'm currently working on. And the idea of this project is that we will put this code eventually open source. I'm actually already maintaining the GitHub repository. It's not public yet, but it will be soon. Where we are imagining the future of customer care. And the reason for this project is basically because all these businesses, they come to Google and they ask us like, okay, well, contact center AI is amazing, but how does Google see the future of customer care in the next 5 or 10 years? And they asked me, and if you would ask me this question, then I would tell you, like, the future of customer care, the future of contact centers will be that it's proactive. So you don't need to come to them. Now the robots come to you. It should be ubiquitous. It should be available wherever you are, wherever you are in on location wise, or wherever you are in time. And it should be true omnichannel. And often the word or the terminology omnichannel got mistaken because people think omnichannel, oh, that's just having multiple channels. That's true, but it also means that the conversation should continue from one channel to the other channel very naturally. So what we want to do with this project, and this is not an official Google project, this is a DevRel project. So this is something that I'm working on with a team, is to make your call center not a cost center, but a revenue center by using these, by building a true omnichannel approach. And I actually have already a demo working, but to save time, I'm going to show a video of it because I'm showing you many channels. I'm curious if you can understand them all or recognize them all. This is actually something that keeps me super excited. And after this video, I can show you some of the architecture pictures on how I've built this, and I can dive a little bit into code if that is where you're interested in. Let me switch back to another video. Yeah, there we go. All right. Customers ask us all the time, what's the future of customer care? We think your contact center shouldn't be a cost center, but a revenue center. It should meet your customers where they are, 24/7, and be proactive, ubiquitous, and scalable. It should become a trusted partner in your day-to-day life. What you will see in the next minute is an early demo built by DevRel on how we can reimagine customer experience, a true omnichannel approach. Imagine you are looking to buy a new house. You're visiting a real estate portal, and while browsing through properties, you see this ad which starts a conversation. This ad is provided by Google AdLingo and Dialogflow. It's used to start a huge amount of conversations through somebody else's website and to attract as many visitors to your own site, in this case, the website of G Mortgages. You will land on the banking website of G Mortgages, and it allows you to schedule a mortgage appointment. At this moment, you are talking to a virtual agent built with Dialogflow. Once the conversation is scheduled, you will receive a text message on your phone. This is built by integrating Twilio with Dialogflow or ContactCenter AI. You can even reply to the messages as you're still having a conversation with the virtual agent. 3 hours later, you are not behind your laptop anymore, but you do have another question for G-mortgages. So you will ask your Google Assistant to continue your conversation. Hey Google, can you talk to G-mortgages?
All right, here's the test version of G-mortgages.
Hi Lee, this is the virtual assistant of G-mortgages. I can schedule or change your appointments. Also, I can help you with your mortgage questions. How can I help?
What is an adjustable rate mortgage?
Adjustable rate mortgages typically have low initial interest rates. After the initial period, the rate adjusts to the current market conditions.
Well, is it better than a fixed rate mortgage?
Well, it depends. How long do you plan to own the house?
Maybe 5 years.
In that case, I would suggest an adjustable rate mortgage. No sense in locking a rate for 30 years if you're not going to live there that long.
Okay, I will bring that up to my broker.
No problem. Do you have any more questions?
Well, actually, I have another question. Can you give me a call? Later in the conversation, you prefer to continue the conversation over your phone. So you can ask the virtual assistant to give you a phone call. The conversation will continue over the phone, and it's even possible to transfer to a live agent. Well, I'm thinking about changing my job. Will this affect my mortgage application?
That's exciting. Unfortunately, your job at a new company will affect your length of employment and may impact your application.
Well, now what?
I know it's a tough situation, but if you can defer the start date until after the mortgage is approved.
At the end of the day, after your mortgage consultation, you can talk to the virtual assistant in the mobile app, in our case Flutter, which can share with you a summary of today. Let's reiterate. We started our conversation via an AdLingo app. Then we went to a website built with Angular to talk to the Dialogflow virtual agent. The agent sent us a summary as a text message. We could continue the conversation over voice via the Google Assistant, and later even on a phone. And we ended this demo in a Flutter app. The conversation could travel seamlessly, proactively, no matter where the user was in time or physical location. And now maybe you're wondering, how is this different from our current Contact Center AI offering? As with CCAI, Google also uses Dialogflow to create telephony experiences. Well, Contact Center AI is not a Google Cloud product, but it's a solution. The go-to-market strategy is through telephony partners. And these partners, such as Genesys or Avaya, have built their own architectures and fit Dialogflow and CCAI components within their existing hardware or software stack. At Google, we could build such an architecture ourselves and even include more channels. On top of that, the magic of this all is not by offering multi-channel, but by creating a true omnichannel experience, where the conversation can travel through all the channels by putting all the data in a central data lake. Similar to how we do this for other Google products, such as Android, Maps, or Assistant. As long as it's tied to your Google user profile, Google can give you the best experience. Now, we can deliver a similar experience to enterprises in contact centers. This early demo that was presented to you contained the following Google products: Angular, Flutter, AdLingo, Google Assistant, Google Cloud, Dialogflow Essentials, Dialogflow CX, Kubernetes Engine, a load balancer, Cloud Functions, PubSub, and logging. The beta release of this demo will also include the Data Loss Prevention API, Natural Language Sentiment API, BigQuery, Agent Assist, Agent Handover, knowledge bases, and an insights dashboard. You will be able to use text or voice through every channel, step in or step out in everywhere from wherever you're at, and we could even proactively detect when a user didn't finish their flow and start calling the users from there. Eventually, we can integrate with even more Google products, such as Google Meet, Google Chat, Firebase, Business Communications, and add data. Thank you for watching. Yeah, so that's my demo that I'm working on, and just to show you back the architecture, and also to show you some code. Let me switch to my other screen.
That was amazing. Blown
Yeah.
away.
Yeah, I like, and the demo because now we're much a month further, and I integrated many more channels right now. Like for example, now we have integrated with Looker and with Firebase, and it can detect user profiles, and the way how it detects users is if you call, then it knows the phone number because Twilio has that. But if you use the web, for example, you need to log in and you have your email address, and we can just with Firebase, we can detect like which user is who, and then we can store everything in BigQuery. So once it's in BigQuery, then you can get the full transcript. You see here, if everything's stored in BigQuery, and as soon as I know the user ID based on a phone number or based on an email address, then I can say, well, sort it on date to time, and then you can see all the channels that where that user was interacting with and what was said. And that is what I mean with true omnichannel, right? It doesn't matter anymore like which channel you use. You're talking to like the main AI, and this is something that Google does for all their products. Like because if you use Google Maps, it knows who you are because you're logged in with your user, with your Google identity. But you as a company can do the same because these technologies are already out there. It's not anything new. You can build this.
So we are drooling. This is going to be ready for conference or
Yes,
before?
the idea, I was planning to have it open source in September, but obviously it's September now, and the competition took a lot of time with organization, so it might be likely in October. And I'm also working with a team to create professional videos, because the video that I showed you now, I mean, that's just me going through all these channels, but like we're now working with a bigger team on this project, because we at Google, we really see like the potential in a solution like this. And the idea is more that we're creating here a blueprint on how you as a company could do this. But meanwhile, I will also open source all the code that I created, because it's not only the video and an idea. No, it's actually already working, and I proved that by the code that I wrote. And yeah, and there's one nice thing that I'm very, very proud of, and that is the way how I created the backend for the developers in the call today. Because the way how I abstracted the code is like, if you look here, it doesn't matter anymore if you use which channel you use. It all talks to Dialogflow at the end, and so basically the calls come in. It knows like, oh, you're on the web channel, and then the web channel will talk to Dialogflow. And then it doesn't matter anymore if you use Dialogflow Essentials or CX. I even abstract that, so I put like a layer of to normalize it in between. So like the company could switch between both, and it would still work. Yeah, it's super clean code. One of my coworkers even said, like, Lee, this is such an amazing code demo. You should actually look also in creating node libraries where people can just use it like Lego, that they can just drop in like the library and then it works on Twilio, or you drop in and it works with business messages, or you drop it in and it works with your Google Assistant. And, yeah, that's what I'm working on. Now, I don't want to leave you empty-handed. Even though the previous code examples are not available yet, it will be. But I do have some other nice projects online. So if you look onto these links, I'll put it in the chat. I created like an banking platform where I'm also storing stuff in BigQuery. So the part of what I showed you where I'm storing the user IDs in BigQuery, I do this also with this pet project, so you can look into it. And I actually wrote like lots of README files, and so people can play around with it. And the other demo that I'm showing is a self-service kiosk. So for example, like when you are on an airport and you want to talk to an AI, then you can just use your voice instead of typing. And especially now during COVID, where nobody wants to touch public keyboards, I think these are amazing examples. Just to show you quickly on how these GitHub projects look like. I really wrote down lots of guides on how things work and how you can set it up. So if you're interested in these types of in the code, and definitely have a look into one of my projects, and you can see how it works and how I integrated this with Dialogflow. For self-service desk, I even have a set of blog posts and a video on how to build this. So.
Just amazing. Lee, if you don't have a hard stop at 1:30, I can stay
I
longer. I don't have any meeting. I can stay longer if you can.
You have a hard stop because the baby needs to needs to have milk. But I think now it may be a nice moment to look in some questions, and people that have to leave early, you can add me on Twitter, and I'm active on social media, or you can read my book.
Thank you so much. Looking forward to playing with the code. This was a treat.
Cool. I see stuff in the chat. Should we go to some questions?
Yes, and then open it to a live conversation until you listen.
Cool. Let me see. Okay. Oh yeah. Do you want to go into the raffle first, or we do that at the very end?
We can do raffle after. Probably people didn't say I'll do it, so I'll do it at the end. Even if you go, we can do raffle with the people who are on. I just want them to use more of your time.
Yeah, that sounds like a great idea. Oh, Rajiv. Question: can we copy part of the call flow from one agent to another agent? I assume this is a question specific to CX. Rajiv, do you want to speak? Yeah.
Yeah, so Lee, what happening is we develop, so this is more specific to the contact center, right? So we develop a call journey, let's say for the IDNV and something specific, right? And same has to be replicated for the other clients, right? So rather than developing everything from the scratch, can we copy only the part of, let's say, a particular module, IDNV or something to the another agent?
You can actually remember for the contest, right? I asked everybody to import and export their flows.
But that is complete the whole flow, whole agent. I just want the only one, let's say, the flow.
I haven't tried this, but I assume it works this way because that's how it works for our essentials. I think if you open it, I assume it's the blob is probably a set of JSON files, or it's probably readable in an editor. Should have a look and see how it looks like, because I think that's possible. If that's not possible, then if you cannot do it with code manually, what you always can do is import export the full project, delete everything that you don't need, and store that as snippets, and create a kind of a component, create your own component library with exports. Yep. Maybe I would do that. Maybe create simple flows, save them individually, and use that as your own toolkit.
All right. Okay. Yeah, that can be one of the options.
Yeah, but have a look into the blog to see if you can open it in the editor, because you might be surprised. Yeah.
Yeah, I did that, but it contains garbage characters. So if I change that, I'm not sure if it will get corrected. So that's a challenge.
See, the thing is, I know there is a partner of ours. They created a migration tool that you can migrate Dialogflow Essentials projects to CX. And I imagine they do this by looking into the exports and doing things with the export code. So that makes me think that you probably could do things with the blob. Haven't tried it out myself yet.
Sure. Okay.
Yeah.
Is that partner's tool open source or proprietary to the partner?
Well, no, I think if you Google it, because I think they had a session for Google a while ago, a public session. It might be on YouTube.
Okay, perfect.
Search for migration tool, Dialogflow.
Perfect. Rajiv, we have more questions here. Maybe it's easier to tell them than we read them. Panicking, we have 11 minutes.
Yeah. Can we expect the Google Assistant channel in CX? I doubt it, because the Google Assistant was really, I I doubt that they will put it as an out-of-the-box integration in Dialogflow CX, because Google Assistant is really made for simplistic chatbots. But that said, I know that there is a use case and that lots of people are building the Google Assistant with Dialogflow CX. Actually, my demo that you've seen today was using the Google Assistant for CX. You can do that. And the way how you would do that is through the Actions SDK. You can use the Actions SDK. Let me quickly show you that in my code, how I did that. Let me see. You basically create a JSON file, and you pass everything that comes in. You pass that to the Dialogflow code base, and then Dialogflow will can handle it. Yeah. So SDK is the answer. I did it. Was actually very easy. Maybe they will build an out of the box integration. Could be, but since Google Assistant is really made for more simplistic chatbots, I don't think it has a high priority for Dialogflow CX. Well, we'll see. Next question. Insights does not allow us to import the conversation. Can you please share an expected timeline for its GA? I don't know exactly when it goes GA. I think soon, maybe even after next. Because I'm not even sure if I'm allowed to tell you this. But soon. And why it doesn't work with importing, I don't know. Like it should import. It should, like I've seen in my demo, you can import a single conversation. You can import a batch. Was it audio that you tried to import, Rajiv, or were you importing text conversation?
Both. So both chat and text. So when we go, it says conversation create failed. So maybe access denied over there.
Yes, that's one thing. There were actually a lot of steps that I had to take. First of all, I had to be allowed listed to the Insights API by the Google team. Second, I had to enable my own APIs. I had to enable speech to text. I had to enable CCAI Insights. I think I even needed to give bucket access for the tool. And then once I did that, then the other trick was to have the correct formatting. So you need to make sure that for text you're using the right formatting, and where you're basically saying like this is user one.
Yeah. I use the one which is coming from Agent Assist. So there are 30,000 call transcription is there. So I was using that one.
Okay, then I assume Agent Assist probably did it already correct with the channel tags, right? Yeah. So then there's probably nothing wrong with the code. Probably you didn't have the right allow access, or you did not enable all the APIs. Or lots of steps that I had to do. For GA, probably will be easier. But you still need to allow all the APIs, but I assume by then we will have all the guides up in the documentation.
Yeah. So inside cloud storage and speech to text, all three was enabled.
Out of my head, those were the ones that I did. And then for the beta program, I also needed to be allowed listed. I think you probably have that, otherwise you wouldn't know about the tool.
Yeah.
Can I export Dialogflow Insights data to BigQuery? Yes, you can. It should be simple. I haven't done that in my demo, but yeah, it is. It will be for release. That's actually super nice when you have the insights data in BigQuery, because then you can, for example, show it in a Looker dashboard, and you can combine it with your own data. You can combine it with your whole chatbot transcripts, like what I did, and my user history. You can also combine it with other data, like app data or system data or website data, and then you make very smart experiences. Next question. Shifa Prasad, I don't know if I pronounced your name correctly. I have seen your name on social media before. You talked about robocallers in one of your slides. Any kind of solution from Google which can actually detect if the call is from a real human or if it's from another bot calling? I don't know, but we do have a solution. It's a bit irrelevant to your question. I don't know the answer on your question, but as a side note from your question, we will have another tool released soon, which is called Speaker ID. And with Speaker ID, we can detect who is calling. You do need to train the model with your own voice. But for a business, that will mean, like, for say, if I call a bank and I set it up once, first time, where I say, like, yeah, I am Lee, I'm calling. Okay, let's train our model with your voice. So I have to give like 3 example phrases, and then it captured my voice. And then the next time when I call and ask the bank, like, hey, I want to have information about my bank account, then it knows, like, oh, this is Lee calling. Here's their information. We verified your voice. So not exactly what you're asking me, but something that you're probably interested in.
Yeah, got it. Thanks.
Can we integrate CX with Lambda? Those are the new messaging. Haven't heard anything of that yet. Lambda technology. And in CX, is there a way to switch intent once it reach 3 or 4 levels? If you want to switch pages on a certain level, you can probably do this through events. That's out of my head what I would look into. I haven't tested it, but yeah, I think you can. Ahmed, is it possible to integrate Dialogflow BigQuery? Oh yeah, we answered that. So that instead of complex SQL query, we can write plain text and get instant responses. Yes, you can. Yeah. Are you utilizing OpenAI's GPT-3 API or codex? I'm not using anything of that, Brett, but I know that Dialogflow CX is making use of BERT. And that's the nice thing of tools like Dialogflow. I am not a data scientist. I am not a mathematic. I'm not an expert in machine learning, but Dialogflow is. I just use the tool, and that makes my life a lot easier. But under the hood, it uses a BERT language model.
Any more questions? We have 3 minutes. Or more if you stay longer. I will stay on the call and we can chit chat and give the prize after you leave. So Lee gave us Amazon code. The winner, whoever put the email address, will get the code from you.
Yeah.
Any other questions?
I see one more question in the chat. And that question I already answered. So does ContactCenter AI supports voice biometric authentication? Yes, that will be the speaker ID that I mentioned earlier. So we can detect your voice.
One question, Lee, which was in the top of the list. So when we are transferring from CX to Avaya or Genesys in-premise, right? So we are passing custom payload. What is I have noticed is after that, the next step will be open-ended, like no end session or something like that. So that the call continues. So Dialogflow is also listening the call. Is it some new feature is going to come into the feature list, something like that? That's why that is that, or is it like product limitation?
It depends.
Because we cannot
it depends on how Genesys or Avaya has built their own architecture, right? Because we have those APIs like Agents Assist, and that we can transfer it, and that they can see the transcript. But it really, with all these telephony partners, it really depends on their architectures, and they all are implementing it on a different way. So, like, the question probably can be answered through the telco partner.
Play with another provider. They are different. I get surprised. What you think is limitation of Dialogflow, it's really the other partners. I played with 3 or 4 so far, and there is so many differences, even to the point that some of them cannot understand my accent and my hoarseness.
Yeah.
No. With respect to the recognition, I've been working over here. So I remember Sundar Pichai's video, Duplex. So from there on, this Dialogflow and CX is quite advanced, and we are keep evolving or helping the customer or the client with the solutions we are creating with respect to the integration with the Dialogflow. So definitely is there not video which Sundar Pichai is shown, but yeah, we are still going over there.
Can I shoot last question because you're going to leave soon? In that video of Genesys, are they using CX or ES? Because I spoke to the resellers. I don't think CX is ready. Is this something that's in the works?
Like so the video that you shown was actually an old video, so they use Dialogflow Essentials. I'm not sure in every telephony partner which telephony partner uses CX already. It really depends on the telco partner. Like the demo that I showed you, I did that with Twilio, and Twilio, that's a telco partner where it's more towards developers where you can integrate the contact center yourself. So obviously my solution makes use of Dialogflow CX, and that's why I mentioned, like, if you want to do things right, do it yourself. But it really depends on the provider. I know that all these telco providers are already working on integrations with CX, and maybe some of them already have it implemented.
Yes. There are 3 only that are available, and so far I was lucky with audio codes because they are from Israel with similar accent like mine. They were able to capture. I'm sure the other one can do as well, but they have to tune the frequencies and training models. Before I'm talking about telco part, not Dialogflow. And there was another thing, I really like the property switching because somebody has to make a mistake. There is big companies, takes time. Are we going ES? Are we going CX? Can you unbundle what you developed separately and keep it individual components so we don't have to make up our mind or getting into project?
Yeah, that's exactly what one of my coworkers said. He said, like, your code is so amazing. You should make it like little libraries or NPM libraries that people can just place it in their projects and it works. Because the idea is really simple. What I did, I just normalized the responses, because the responses of Dialogflow Essentials and the responses of CX, they are both different. If I just put it like in an abstract above it, and then I can listen to that abstract from everywhere else, and then it worked.
That's amazing.
Yes.
Any other questions? So we are right.
So the project with the one with the Omnichannel is not available online yet. It will be. If you follow me on Twitter, you will get early access as soon as I post it public. So that is at LadySign. That's my Twitter handle, and then I can share more code examples with you.
And if there is one thing for the people in call centers to learn, turn the stereo recordings. It's a major hassle to do the realization, to switch it from mono to stereo, and the algorithms are not perfect. So ask your contact centers to turn on stereo. You will be ready for these tools when they're announced.
Yep.
Thank
you so much. Thank you so much, Daniel.
Yeah, no problem.
And everybody else, thank you for joining.
Thank you. It's always nice to chat with you and to learn from you, and I look forward to playing with these repos. Anything else, Jonathan? Like he's my partner here.
Oh, no, it's okay. I don't have any other questions. It was an excellent presentation. I really appreciate it, Lee. I think we have a lot of interested people here who will be following you and looking forward to what's coming down the pipe.
And amazing number of people showed up. Like we rarely see that online world. So I think you're a leader here. So RSVP to show operation is the best way of call.
Thank you so much. And for everybody that wants to learn more, please have a look into my book. All the royalties of my book go to charity because I wrote this for the community.
That is another amazing thing. It rarely happens. So you write the book and all the proceeds go to nonprofits. Thank you. That is awesome. So, but we will give one copy to free whoever hangs on the calls. I did look into the spreadsheet of people who did the form. Okay, there are 2 more names. I'm going to paste it again. You have a minute more to do that. And let's see.
All right, I'm gonna sign off. Thank you so much, and good luck for the winner. For hopefully you win my book.
I'll be watching you next.
Yes. No, there.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye bye.
So okay, I'm starting to present now. How was it? We can chat now. No need. That's why I wanted questions at the end, because I knew how much material she had, and the most fun part is at the end. So I think she was the person who wrote for KLM, the chatbots when COVID started, so people don't have to touch anything in the airport. Everybody's so quiet. Turn on the mics. We can chat now.
No, it was a good event organized, Daniel. Thank you. And
I hope to see you again. So we have other meetups as well, and the links are on it is youtube.serverlesstoronto.org. It's where you can see past videos. But we are like Lego pieces, different shape and colors, so you never know what you're going to learn. It's not always the
Can you share the link over the chat? You can
John, maybe you
subscribe to
can type it while I'm doing that. So it's youtube.serverlesstoronto.org is a URL kind of that leads you to the
Okay.
playlist.
I'll see if I can find that. Is it posted in the meetup here? I'll see.
It's not, just try. It's subdomain to serverlesstoronto.org.
Okay.
But let me see. I have the. Let me see who else has the. Oh, we have. Oh, 2 more people filling. Oh, that's lovely. Everybody wants a book for free. Control C, and I'm sharing. We are going. Where are we going? Where's the wheels of names? We'll do that. And then paste here. Anybody pasting name right now, or we are ready to go?
I think you just forgot mine. Sorry.
Okay, what is your name? You can.
It's at the very end.
At the very. Okay, I'll go back.
Go back to the list.
Oh yeah. Brad.
Daniel, I don't see my name, Raidu.
Okay, do the survey quickly. So I pasted it. Scroll up, you will find a link to the survey, or you can just type in.
Thank you, Daniel.
I'll type it in, but where's the wheel of names? I lost it again here. Did you say Radu?
Yeah, R-A-Y-U-D-U.
R-A-Y?
U-D-U.
U-Y-U.
D as David, yeah.
Okay.
Correct.
So everybody happy? We can go? Ready?
Ready?
Let's see, but you have to be here. If you left the meetup, I will not share the link. Okay, how do I pronounce your name? Are you here? Are you with us? Costa?
Probably not.
I'm counting. You have 3 seconds to tell your name, or I'm proceeding again. 1, 2, 3. Spin again. And then we can hang a chat about this, because this is like a hobby of mine, telephony, and it's. Brad, you're here.
That's me. Thank you.
Lucky last moment.
Okay, guys.
Congrats. So Brad, let's stop sharing and we can start chatting. Where are you? So I think I have in the chat your email address, edjx.io.
Right, yeah.
Okay, I will send you the email I got from Lee, and it's a coupon for free book from Amazon.
Thanks,
So how do you feel about this? I'm so excited because my first job in Canada in '92 was IVR developer. And it was like kind of all you could do was touch tone to press 1 for sales, press 2 for marketing, 0 out if I get annoyed. And I was always.
I actually had a guest on our podcast a few weeks ago that is the head of cognitive delivery for Amelia. It's the most human AI. It's pretty interesting. They utilize OpenAI's API, and it's an open repository. So it's pretty fascinating, just in terms of what they've done there. And it syncs up with like a virtual assistant. You can go and interview her yourself. Like I have no affiliation with them whatsoever.
OpenAI is crazy. Like BERT and OpenAI are built on the same technology. So probably they're similar, but with OpenAI, like I was tricked into believing they're real humans.
Yes, exactly. So
I hear you.
Yeah, I think it's something like 70% or something really high like that.
And so what to me, like what's happening in industry now, it feels like a marriage of chatbots and telephony together, because chatbots were hyped almost like a blockchain, and people are losing interest because chatbot has to deliver 100% good result. But with a phone call, you always 0 out when you kind something is not right. So when you marry chatbot with a phone line, then every field, utterance, everything that chatbot didn't understand gets passed to the agent with the context. And that was a brilliant thing that's happening right now. So this is my opinion, personal. And I've been watching all vendors. So I think Twilio was the first one to give the idea of marrying telephony and the chatbots. And they built their own product called Autopilot. But what's happening? I'm seeing in the last meetup, if you attended, you saw it's not about the algorithm; it's about the volume of data you have. So Twilio has less data to train it, but they have good technology to understand my weird accent on the phone line. And then Amazon and Google jumped on the same idea, but Amazon went opposite direction. They said, okay, We have good Alexa. We're going to build Alexa around that. We're going to build contact center technology. So it's a closed solution. They're adding telephony features and telco features they didn't have. Google is moving in the opposite direction. They have a good language base. And because I have weird accent, I know that Google understands me better than Alexa. But kind of Alexa was my first love because they have bigger pool of people with weird accents around the world and languages they support. So Google says, no, we're going to work with telco partners. And it's a beautiful thing, but at the same time, it's a problem because you have so many partners to choose from. And kind of things are glitchy around the edges when you work with those partners. So some companies opting to go with the Genesys IVR that had built-in solution, some do-it-yourself approach, and I'm hoping for more do-it-yourself approaches.
Right. I just posted the Amelia link. Anybody can just go and interview for free. Like, it's pretty interesting. I think JP Morgan uses them in their call centers, and it's pretty advanced.
That's a good one. And there was a lady from so what was it? Artificial Solutions. Is she here with us? Anybody from Artificial Solutions here, or they left the call? That's another good company, especially if you're in Europe with lots of different languages. Nobody here. So okay. Any other thoughts about this? Like I can stay a little bit longer. I don't know about you. Any experiences? What are you working on? Anything exciting in chatbot space?
I do think integrating it with serverless is interesting because it's okay to have it in a centralized data center, but you got to think about the latency with respect to going and calling data from the APIs and responding to people, right? If you want to trick them into thinking that they're a real human, then how do you get them to respond real time? You and I can chat real time because they're going and taking the context and doing that kind of algorithmic work in the background.
You're talking about on-premise contact centers.
Yeah, so on-premise would be fine, but if you're a global organization that maybe you only have, you're working out of AWS in New York and it's serving, Quebec or something, the latency can be a little bit of an issue.
Yes, that's a major headache. I've been with a client. They have like 200 millisecond delay, and it feels like echoing limbo. And the problem is, and the call center is probably in Philippines, and your customers are here.
Right.
So it gets totally messy.
Especially when they're not responding real time. Like you and I can respond real time, but there's probably
okay. So I think I don't know. I may be speculating here, but like I know that Google's internal network is the fastest. It's petabyte speed network. That's why BigQuery can separate storage and data. So latency, as long as you don't leave your cloud providers network, you should be fine. I don't understand why Amazon Connect has these big latencies, but it's a major headache in many people that I know are working with it.
Right, but then you have to go and worry about orchestration, setting up Kubernetes, and setting up the infrastructure. So there's a little bit of a headache there.
But I thought it's managed system. You just spin it like it's a serverless.
It would depend what it is you're calling, because certain types of APIs work well at the edge if they're using pre-trained models and they have some predictive capabilities or caching capabilities. If you need to query and use data from a central store and there is only one central store, then sure, you're always going to have that latency.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So it's about putting the data closer to those people that you need to respond to, and that's basically text, which is fine to do. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But like I think I think Amelia was on the high end. Some friends are using it. More realistic thing now you can choose is either Twilio or Flex, but you may not get that fancy chatbot unless they announce something new next month on the conference they have. Because I have a hint they're working with OpenAI. I don't know, because companies are realizing they need better AI to work with it, or they may be switching to Dialogflow. I don't know. Right. And then, so that's one choice. And then you have Genesys, and then Amazon Connect, and the Google Dialogflow. These are your options, probably right now. Anybody else knows anything else?
OpenAI released their codex, which actually takes natural language and turns it into JavaScript.
But I'm talking about call center. Like, does it work on the center? Yeah. So this is about end-to-end contact center experience. Everything's doable, but you have to do it in certain time and context.
Yeah.
One more thing I have noticed is with respect to the cloud, right? When you're talking to Twilio and all this thing, real-time transcriptions and all this thing is quite easy. But with respect to in-premise, right, when we go where there are systems like NICE, Variant, and all those things come into the picture. So over there, having the real-time transcription, providing assistant or assist to the agent, and also do the insight, which is the feature which is Google is bringing, right? So those thing does not come uh, without any cost, right? There are huge licensing cost is there. Then there is a infrastructure upgrade has to be done over there. What Google is bringing over here with just IVR solution, right? So over there, you first hand you get the solution from the IVR, which is quite good. We have tested it around compared to the Nuance. I came from the previously from the Nuance, so I can say that with respect to the comparison, with respect to the accuracy, Google is not there, but it is not lagged by 2 or 3%. So it's quite good over with respect to the PAN card and number and alphanumeric, and also with the intent detection, it is quite good around 90%. The real benefits where the clients are seeing right now with this CCI an agent assist come into the picture and inside is the real-time transcription which they can use now. They can get those data, put it to BigQuery, put it to their analytics system which they have invested heavily. So now they can improve their IVR recognition, IVR use cases, which are even earlier days for deploying a simple use case in the IVR side, right? For Avaya, Cisco, or Genesys.
I think they'd be
You have
able to
to
meet
manually develop and put the code over their deployment process and everything. But with the Dialogflow or even the Lex or the with Microsoft Lois, it's quite easy. Just go over there, create a new flow, and that's it done. And just enable with the production one. So those are the things we see. That's the trend is with the big customer. This is where exactly they are getting the benefit more just from the IVR plus the real time transcription and also the analytics.
That's cool. And which company are you with?
Right now I'm with UK company Connect.
Okay, nice.
Yeah.
So
One
just
thing I
basically,
also
so sounds like you have a problems with on-prem data centers. And when COVID started, that was headache for everybody. Like first days of COVID, like my mortgages go through for 3 days because bank was closed and the call centers was out. So the first meetup we had after COVID, when we switched from offline to online, was with Twilio to explain how you can route, extend. It's like overflow, hybrid. So, when you get too busy, you send the calls to the cloud. So that's something that can be applied to any of these solutions. Doesn't have to be Twilio, but most of these call centers, they have SIP, even in on-prem, and the SIP calls can be easily routed out, and then you benefit from technology. So what we are talking about is cloud contact center. I assume they're already there, but if you're not, send people to watch second part of this meetup. We have two presenters explaining SIP headers, how to configure, so your on-prem scales to the cloud.
My one other
Yeah,
thing
from
is the
SIP
contextual piece.
SBC we
Being
can
able to
transfer.
maintain
Sorry, go ahead.
context. Being able to maintain context with your customers as well, right? Throughout the conversation. If you think of Alexa and Siri and like the basic ones, they're very one train of thought, but being able to maintain the context of the conversation and then apply it to future responses is something that is quite advanced that I've been seeing.
Especially CX. With ES, you have kind of to stitch it together.
Yeah.
With ES, and I don't see it like a flaw. I see it more like a book that you can photo album. You can jump from one page to another, but then you document where it's like changing talk. We talk about IVR, suddenly we talk about food, and then come back to another topic. So this is like just lines connecting the pages of photo album, and I like the reusability part. But with CX, I only went through the quick labs. So if you don't experience these things, go to quick labs and try them until they get ready. And also for people who cannot wait for CCAI Insights. So I'm on the partner whitelisted page, but my problem was my recordings are mono. And I spent endless amount of time trying to make it stereo, and it wasn't good quality. But if you cannot wait for CCAI Insights, there is a tool before that called speech analytics frameworks, SAF, and I had the links. So I'll paste the link in the chat about that one. It immediately does the visualization for you because CCAI Insights expect stereo. The old framework doesn't, but it's not very reliable, so people don't get the results because everybody feeds it mono. And then where was it? And the author of the framework, it's open source framework now. The author of the framework is very kind of open to help you. I got stuck at one point, navigated some instructions, and he helped me get it installed. So that's something. And but the problem is with this tool, if you click on the second link, all these visualizations that Lee is talking and that that this page is talking about, they were not part of the product, so you develop them yourself. And I also find somewhere there is a Looker. There was a Looker dashboard that you can import, but then there is a problem. I don't have Looker account because it's a Google product, but it's by invite only. If you know, you cannot just go to console and access Looker like other services. So I see the future, but get ready to roll the sleeves to do some work if you want to do it today, at least before next.
Daniel, can I just ask you a question? As I know nothing about call center apps or voice, I've never worked in that area at all. I do serverless computing to do with other things. A couple of times you've mentioned this huge requirement of two-channel versus mono. Can you explain briefly why does that matter? Every phone in the world has only one microphone. So why does it matter whether the call center is working in stereo versus mono?
It's two speakers. It's me versus the client. You want to analyze how our agent is performing, and when you know what clients are asking about. So I want to know what your intents are. And so what happens in the call centers, after every call, agent has a screen, like there are tools to mark what the call was about. Complain about the bill, this. They do sloppy jobs. I bet 80% of these call disposition, I forgot what was the word, they're supposed to mark what the call was about, are incorrect. So CCAI Insights tool will analyze your channel, what you asked him, and will analyze the other guy, can combine it, can decouple it.
Okay, so it's multiple parallel channels of analysis and audio.
Yes,
I see what you're saying. Okay,
and
it's
if
nothing
you
about
use,
being a stereo signal from a given
no,
person.
It's just people were cheap saving on communication. Even if they use asterisks, they put it mono 8K. And that 8K frequency, it's ridiculous. I run some calls, it cannot figure anything. So Google, because they work with YouTube, as she mentioned, has a video mode. You say it's a video, suddenly it increases. They also have the mode for phone calls. It's like 3 times X more performant to understand, transcribe. This is speech to text API that she wrote on the first slide. So if you ever play with that, if you ever played with 8K recordings, set it to the phone enhanced model. You will pay 50% more because it takes more power to get intents right.
I see. But for the inference and to get the value out of the data, the quality there is what's important. Okay, well that makes sense.
Yeah. So, any other questions? So maybe I can help. Anybody else? Who else is working? I can't believe I'm the only one excited about telephony.
I'm excited as well.
No, there are a whole bunch of people are there who are working and integrating this new world.
Cool. So we'll post the recording out, and if anybody has any questions, we have Slack channel in the group.
How far are we away from artificial general intelligence?
That's scary.
Or
I'd
just
like
general
AI to be a helper, not to replace us.
I think the cognitive piece is a lot closer than overall. That's my from my research. Was my takeaway.
I'm
Yeah, can you guys hear
skeptical.
me? Hello.
I want
Sorry.
agents to go ahead.
Oh, no, sorry. I was speaking earlier that Azure ACS are also making quite a noise with respect to their channel. So Azure Communication Services and integration with the MS Team as a live agent. So that is also making quite a noise in this contact center space, along with what Amazon Connect is already doing, and Google is there. So yeah.
The problem, like I've seen people in the telco world have in Amazon, there is there's SIP standard, there's like voice, it's a VoIP kind of standard underneath. I don't know if they opened it up, but it was locked solution. So if you have quality of service problems, you're stuck asking Amazon support to debug it for you. If you use Genesys, if you use Twilio, you just replace. It's called bring your own carrier. You bring another guy. It may be more expensive or work better in different parts of the world, but you change underlying networking. It's like ISP provider, and you go there. So that was a big thing. And then I've seen many people experiencing these weird delays, especially for different parts of the world.
Right. Their legs somehow whenever you calling the first time, not sure why their Lex is in sleep or the Lambda is in sleep. Not sure why,
It's not
what
just first
exactly the
time, it's
problem is.
throughout the conversation. It's crazy
Yeah,
how
so
that. And then
Amazon Lex is NLP is one of the most I can say the pathetic I have seen, because even with the Microsoft, the Google, you train the intent with at least the 4 phrases, it will understand what you're saying. But
Well,
with Lex,
I think
you
it's
have
our
to go
accents.
and
I don't
no.
think it's Lex, it's our accent. So Amazon and Alexa are my first love. And I'm Alexa because of my heavy accent and working in IVR. There was no speech-to-text engine that could understand me. Even the nuance company, what's the name of the company I worked with? Nobody, like a speech dragon IBM, nobody could figure out what I'm saying. So I gave up. And then Alexa comes. Suddenly I can talk to her. Not too much, not too fast, but it understands me. Google was a little bit better. So it's probably the dialects we have that it's not picking it up. But I think that
No, no,
AI is good.
not even for the voice, even for the Amazon Lex, the chat channel also. Over there also the NLP is not that good. So
I don't know.
even
I did not
if
use
you
Lex that
do a
much.
typo over there or something, it doesn't understand. It does not that good with respect to the Microsoft Lois
I did not.
or
Lex
even
was
the Google.
Lex was more targeted towards SMS and messaging and other channels, not originally. Then they bundled it with the call centers. I did not
Daniel, I'd
play
be
with that
curious
much.
how Amelia performs for you. If like, I'm just curious.
Amelia. So I heard. So when I was researching what's happening right now in the space,
Yeah.
Amelia was number one. But it's only companies like Transcom with 80,000 agents that are using it. So it's not.
Right.
It's not something here. It's apparently like a Rolls Royce of the existing call center. So who has the money buys that.
Yeah.
And then there was this artificial solutions. I think that was the name of the company lady was with. But
Right.
that's
Yeah.
for
I see
European
that.
markets. And then there was nothing else. And now Google and Amazon and Philly are coming in that space.
Yeah.
And
I think I
obviously,
saw Amelia, and
yep.
I know that I think they have like something like 50% of the Fortune 100 companies or something like that. Maybe not 50, but they have quite a few. Because
It's not something we can afford, you and I. And
yeah,
I'd rather learn and play with
I
Philly.
mentioned that, and he countered saying that it's apparently anyone can use it. It's available for small businesses, which I was curious about myself because I thought it was only for the Fortune 500s and the banks and the the mass call center operations. But that's TBD because I'm curious just using it for our own company, for our own support ops. But
you mentioned you run some channel, something as if you had somebody as a guest. Is it podcast?
well, I have a technology podcast.
Okay, the link. Tell us about it. We can become
Well,
friends.
one of the co-hosts was the former head of Uber's infrastructure group. So he had met with them to do Uber's call center operations, which not that they have a large call center operation, but he's known them for several years. So my other co-host, who's the co-founder of my company, he was CTO of Bell Cloud, and he's very anti-chatbot. So my Uber co-host said, "Well, I'm gonna bring a guy on and convince you that conversational chatbots are going to convince people." So he called up the founder of Amelia and brought on the head of their cognitive delivery group and had him on a few weeks ago.
So
I can shoot
the
you.
link. Yeah,
Sure. Yeah.
To the recording. I'm curious. I'm not
Yeah. Do you listen to Spotify? I can just
and
pull off
then
our own
let's
stuff.
connect on LinkedIn. So
I don't mean to like be. I'm not trying to advertise my own stuff here, by the way, but
no problem.
it's just funny timing because
It's capitalism. We have to pay the bill. So
yeah. Here, here's the link.
perfect. Anybody else? You guys are quiet. Like, let's check out in a couple of minutes. Anybody else wants to say something? Jose, Pablo, Mark? Are you too quiet? Okay, so that's it from me. Like this is something dear to my heart, but I don't know if I hope you had at least 50% fun at that as I had.
I love your passion. It's
I
very-
learned a lot because I know nothing about this space, so I found it very interesting. But I probably only picked up the details like very little compared to you guys because you guys all work in this space. But no, it was fascinating. I had never heard of it.
Up until that podcast episode, I was not as well informed, and I was fascinated after listening.
Yeah, maybe I should give that a listen to because I'd never even heard of Amelia until this conversation here today. But it sounds fascinating. I was just looking quickly at their splash page there. But sounds neat.
Yeah, go ahead. I found it very, very entertaining, and so I'm passionate about it as well. And so good. I've been part of the group for a couple of years now, but I don't make all the events, and I definitely wanted to jump on this one because it's fascinating to me as well.
Cool.
Before you go, I will post the link to, because we keep talking about Twilio here, Twilio there. So everybody says big announcements for their conferences. I know they're plotting something big. Autopilot was the first product that other vendors, I think, are copying, that idea of marriage or telephone and a chatbot. So it was the first one to get it to work properly. What I liked about the autopilot, because you have multi-channel. So what Lee was sharing about not being multi-channel, but omni-channel. That means you as a user transitioning from one device to another. So Twilio did something like that with their Flex contact centers, but probably they're working in secrecy with some AI companies. Will it be Dialogflow or OpenAI? We'll learn soon, any day now.
Right.
So that's it. That's it for me. I look forward for CCAI Insights to become general available and to help more clients put them to use and less wait times on the phone.
Exactly.
So it's major.
All right, thanks guys. I got to get back to work here, but it was a great session. Thanks.
Thank you. Stay safe.